What's the exact moment you realized a friendship was over? When hanging out with them started feeling less like a social event and more like a second full-time job that I was paying to keep. When I stopped wanting to share good news because it felt like my ex-friend didn't really care. When I realized I was always the one initiating. I busted his wife cheating on him, so I did what any good friend would and told him. He responded by trying to fist-fight me for making things up. We haven't talked since, and he is on his third marriage now. Bailed my best friend out of jail. He had just never paid his speeding tickets. Never mentioned it to anyone. 3 weeks or so later, a mutual friend asked why I was hounding him for the dollar. I hadn't mentioned it to anyone or even him. Yeah, no, if you're going to lie about me. Bye. Strange answer, but I had a close friend from high school, through college, and another 5 years out of college. She had a brief but brutal fight with cancer and died. During the time that she was sick, I always was so focused on how she was doing, what she was going through, if she would pull through, that I never imagined a world where she wasn't there. It wasn't until months after she passed that I remember absent-mindedly going to text her about something I thought she would want to know, and when I found out it was him stealing things from our apartment, back in 2009, me and my buddies would get together with our TVs and Xbox 360s and play Left 4 Dead, so there were a lot of controllers and consoles at our place. He was trying to make everyone believe it was me stealing everything until our buddy's brother took him to GameStop to sell one of his controllers, and the dude behind the counter said, "Dude, that's like the 5th one this week." A female friend told me what he'd done to her after a party. Best friends since we were 5. Just wiped out the friendship in an instant. Was never punished for it. Gives me an ick to this day. She told a mutual that I was in her apartment peer pressuring her to take drugs. Mutual freaked out on me. The drugs was a peanut butter sandwich edible I shared with her roommate after asking her 3 times if it would be okay. We did not ask her if she wanted one because we knew she didn't. We didn't even offer it. We literally never talked again after that day, despite being best friends that talked every day for almost 4 years. I was bullied for my looks and weight, and my friend just watched and laughed. My ex-wife/best friend. We married young, and throughout our 15 years together we always had a dream of traveling to Europe. Talked about it all the time, knowing it would be a while before we could afford it. When I opened my business, we knew that it would be a few years until I was able to take enough time off to go to Europe, even if I was making enough for us to afford it. This was agreed upon. I came home one evening after a 16-hour day from hell to her planning a trip to Europe with my best friend/best man at my wedding slept with my married sister on my wedding night. It turns out the full open bar was not the best idea. Whole family found out the next day, but I was only told after we got back from the honeymoon. I know shit is between them, and I don't hold a grudge or anything, but there was no going back from that. When she told me I'm too sensitive for losing a second baby. Had an ex sleep with every friend of mine that would do it. It was when we were still together, but things were falling apart. Had to look at it like she did me a favor. Pretty good litmus test. The friends that denied she came onto them are the ones that slept with her, and I dropped the friendships. It was a pretty good blessing in the end. He didn't come to my wedding because he had a slight disagreement with another friend that was there. We were already growing apart, but not being able to put things aside for 3 hours of his life. Yeep. When he DM'd my wife and told her she should make an OnlyFans. She was talking about how common it is for women to make up false rape accusations when I told her I was raped. I don't need ignorant misogynistic women in my life. When my friends organized a barbecue, but they forgot they needed charcoal, lighter fluid, a lighter, and meat. So we go to the store, they put everything on the conveyor belt, and then just expectantly look at me to pay for everything. $65-ish for everything. No one said thank you, and at the end of the night had the 2 most gristled slivers of totally overcooked steak. I went home and never texted them again. Seems like they didn't like me either, because they never texted me either. My friend didn't acknowledge my birthday in any way 30+ years ago in my 20s. When their birthday came up later that year, they contacted me and wanted to know if I wanted to do the big group dinner thing at a nice steakhouse. I decided to be the bigger man and go. When I said yes, they replied in an email that they were happy because now their meal would be free because they had a party of 10 people going. I was literally just a number to them. I skipped the dinner without letting them. She messaged my aunt a load of twisted, untrue shit about me behind my back. She was demented and stupid enough to believe it all. 2. She was one of my closest friends for nearly 2 decades. I was crushed. It still hurts. But knowing how she is, I am well rid of her. She was my roommate. I came home and found her in my bed with my fiancé 2 weeks before the wedding. It wasn't even the fiancé's bed because he didn't live there. When I realized they only contacted me in order to get something out of me or to use me for something. When there was a large gap in hanging out, and he was even more narcissistic than ever, alienating everyone at the house party with the main character BS. It disgusted me, to be honest. It was brutal to witness. We were saying goodbye to a friend who was moving far away, the reason for the party, and he was being an ass and didn't even come outside to say goodbye like everyone else. We all parted ways and 8 months go by and he sends me a text that read, "Hello, old friend," with a photo he too. Realizing that he was a narcissistic asshole who shit and stepped on everyone to prop himself up like a god. When they posted pictures of themselves on that camping trip we talked about doing all together,